The black Bentley moved smoothly through the London streets as evening shadows grew longer. Inside the luxury car, Catherine, Princess of Wales, adjusted her elegant emerald green gown for the third time. The fabric shimmered under the soft interior lights, and her sapphire earrings caught every reflection. William sat beside her, looking handsome in his classic black tuxedo, but she could sense his slight nervousness. "You look absolutely stunning tonight," William said softly, reaching over to squeeze her gloved hand. His voice carried that familiar warmth that always made her smile, even during the most formal occasions. Catherine turned to meet his eyes. "Thank you. I still get butterflies before these big events, you know. The Royal Variety performance always feels so special and important." Through the tinted windows, they could see crowds beginning to gather along the barriers outside the London Palladium. Camera flashes were already popping like tiny fireworks in the growing darkness. The sight of so many people waiting in the cold November evening just to catch a glimpse of them never failed to amaze Catherine. "Look at all those people," she whispered, pointing discreetly toward the window. "They've been waiting for hours in this cold weather." William followed her gaze and smiled. "They're incredible, aren't they? Rain or shine, they're always there with such enthusiasm and joy. It reminds me why we do what we do." Their security officer spoke quietly into his earpiece, coordinating the arrival sequence. Catherine could hear fragments of the conversation, something about photographers' positioning and crowd control measures. She took a deep breath, preparing herself for the moment they would step into the bright lights and face hundreds of cameras. The car slowed as they approached the theater. Even from a distance, they could hear the excited cheers and shouts from the waiting crowd. The sound grew louder as they got closer to the red carpet area, where dozens of photographers and journalists were set up behind metal barriers. "Remember when we first started attending these events together?" William asked, his voice filled with fondness. "You were so worried about everything being perfect." Catherine laughed softly. "I was terrified. I kept thinking about every possible thing that could go wrong. What if I tripped? What if my dress got caught? What if I said the wrong thing to someone important? And now look at you," William said proudly. "You handle these occasions with such grace and confidence. The British people absolutely adore you." As their car came to a complete stop, Catherine could see the massive crowd of royal supporters pressed against the barriers. Many held small British flags, and some had homemade signs with messages of support. Children sat on their parents' shoulders to get a better view, and elderly couples stood patiently despite the cold evening air. "Your Royal Highnesses, we'll be opening the door in 30 seconds, their protection officer announced. "The photographers are ready, and the theater management is in position to receive you." Catherine felt that familiar flutter of excitement mixed with responsibility. Every public appearance was an opportunity to represent the royal family and connect with the people who supported them so faithfully. She smoothed down her gown one final time and checked that her diamond bracelet was secure. "Ready for another magical evening?" William asked, straightening his bow tie with a smile that showed both confidence and genuine warmth. "Always ready when I'm with you," Catherine replied, returning his smile with one of her own that had charmed the entire nation since their wedding day. The car door handle turned, and suddenly the muffled sounds of the crowd became a roar of excitement. Camera flashes exploded like lightning as William stepped out first, turning immediately to offer his hand to Catherine. The moment her foot touched the red carpet, the cheers became almost deafening. Catherine emerged from the car like a vision in emerald green. The silk fabric of her gown flowed perfectly as she stood, and the jewels at her ears sparkled brilliantly under the powerful camera lights. She paused for just a moment, allowing the photographers to capture her arrival, before taking William's offered arm. "Catherine! William! Over here!" shouted dozens of photographers, their cameras clicking rapidly. "Beautiful! Absolutely beautiful!" The couple began their walk along the red carpet, moving slowly to allow plenty of opportunities for photographs. Catherine's training and natural elegance showed in every step she took. Her posture was perfect, her smile genuine and warm, and she moved with the confidence of someone who had found her place in this extraordinary world. William looked proud and relaxed beside her, occasionally leaning down to share a quiet word that made her laugh. Their connection was obvious to everyone watching. This wasn't just a royal duty for them, it was a shared experience they genuinely enjoyed. Theater staff members lined the entrance, all dressed in their finest uniforms for this special evening. The theater manager, a distinguished gentleman with silver hair, stepped forward to greet them personally. His face showed the honor he felt at hosting such distinguished guests. "Your Royal Highnesses, welcome to the London Palladium," he said, with a respectful bow. "We are absolutely delighted to have you here for tonight's Royal Variety performance. Everything has been prepared for your comfort and enjoyment." As they approached the theater entrance, Catherine could see the ornate interior through the glass doors. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over red carpeted stairs, and elegant floral arrangements decorated every corner. The atmosphere was one of old-world glamour mixed with modern excitement. The crowd's cheers continued as they paused at the entrance for final photographs. Catherine turned slightly toward the gathered supporters, offering them a wave that sent another wave of excitement through the crowd. Children jumped up and down with joy, and adults smiled broadly, many taking pictures with their phones to remember this special moment. Tonight would be filled with incredible performances, meeting talented artists, and celebrating the best of British entertainment. But first, they needed to make their grand entrance into one of London's most famous theaters, where an audience of celebrities, dignitaries, and special guests awaited their arrival. Inside the London Palladium, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. Catherine and William were escorted through the grand foyer, where hundreds of guests mingled beneath glittering chandeliers. The theater's rich history seemed to whisper from every ornate wall and velvet curtain. "The royal box is prepared for you upstairs," the theater manager explained as he guided them past groups of elegantly dressed audience members. Many guests paused their conversations to watch the royal couple pass, offering respectful nods and warm smiles. As they climbed the carpeted staircase, Catherine noticed the beautiful photographs lining the walls, images of legendary performers who had graced this very stage over the decades. Frank Sinatra, the Beatles, countless comedians and actors who had become household names. "Look at all this history," she murmured to William, gesturing toward a photograph of Charlie Chaplin from the 1920s. "Can you imagine all the incredible moments that have happened in this theater?" William paused to admire the collection. "It's remarkable, isn't it? And tonight we're adding another chapter to that story." They reached the royal box, an elegantly appointed private area with the best view in the house. Red velvet chairs faced the stage, and fresh flowers decorated small side tables. The box offered privacy while still allowing them to be seen by the audience below. "Your Royal Highnesses," announced a production assistant, "the performers are incredibly excited to meet you during the interval. We have several acts tonight that I think you'll particularly enjoy." Catherine settled into her seat and looked out over the packed auditorium. Nearly every seat was filled with people who had dressed in their finest clothes for this special evening. The excitement in the air was almost tangible. "Ladies and gentlemen," came the announcement over the theater's sound system, "please welcome their Royal Highnesses, the Prince and Princess of Wales." The entire auditorium erupted in applause and cheers. Catherine and William stood, waving to the audience with genuine warmth. The ovation continued for several minutes, with people rising to their feet throughout the theater. Catherine felt that familiar rush of gratitude for the British people's support and affection. The lights dimmed, and the first act began. A young singer with an incredible voice performed a song that had everyone mesmerized. Catherine found herself leaning forward in her seat, completely captivated by the talent on display. She glanced at William, who was equally impressed. "Absolutely extraordinary," William whispered during the applause between songs. The evening continued with a parade of amazing performers. There were comedians who had William laughing so hard that Catherine had to remind him to maintain his royal composure. There were dancers who defied gravity with their incredible movements. There was a magician whose illusions left even Catherine wondering how such impossible things could happen. During one particularly impressive dance routine, Catherine noticed William tapping his foot along with the rhythm. She smiled, knowing that despite their formal training, they both genuinely loved music and entertainment. These moments reminded her that beneath their royal duties, they were still just two people who enjoyed a good show. The interval arrived and they were escorted backstage to meet the performers. The backstage area was a maze of corridors, dressing rooms, and costume racks. The energy was electric as performers prepared for the second half of the show. "Your Royal Highnesses!" exclaimed the evening's host, a well-known television personality. "What an honor to have you here tonight. Are you enjoying the show?" "It's been absolutely fantastic," Catherine replied enthusiastically. "The level of talent is just incredible. We're having a wonderful time." They met a young comedian who was clearly nervous about performing in front of royalty. Catherine put him at ease immediately with her warm smile and genuine interest in his career. "How long have you been performing?" she asked, making him feel like the most important person in the room. "About 5 years, Your Royal Highness," he replied, his nervousness fading. "This is definitely the biggest audience I've ever performed for." "Well, you're doing brilliantly," William added. "Your timing is perfect, and you had us all laughing. Keep up the excellent work." They moved from dressing room to dressing room, meeting singers, dancers, and musicians. Catherine was particularly taken with a young girl, probably no more than 12 years old, who was performing with a children's choir. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Catherine asked, kneeling down to the girl's eye level. "Emma, Your Royal Highness," the girl replied with a big smile. "I'm so excited to be here. My mom and dad are watching from the audience." "That's wonderful, Emma. I bet they're so proud of you." "Are you nervous about performing?" "A little bit," Emma admitted. "But my singing teacher says that being nervous means you care about doing your best." "Your singing teacher is very wise," Catherine said with a warm smile. "Just remember to have fun out there, and your voice will shine beautifully." William watched this interaction with obvious pride. He loved seeing Catherine connect with young people. She had such a natural way of making children feel special and valued. A famous pop star approached them, someone whose music both William and Catherine knew well from the radio. Despite his celebrity status, he seemed genuinely honored to meet them. "I can't believe I'm actually meeting you both," he said. "My grandmother would be over the moon if she knew I was talking to you right now. She's been a royal supporter her entire life." "Please give her our best wishes," Catherine replied. "We always love to hear about loyal supporters like your grandmother. People like her make what we do so meaningful." The production manager appeared to let them know the second half was about to begin. As they walked back to the royal box, Catherine felt energized by all the talented people they had met. Each performer had their own story, their own dreams, and their own reasons for being on that stage tonight. "They're all so passionate about what they do," she said to William as they returned to their seats. "It's inspiring to see people following their dreams with such dedication." The second half of the show was even more spectacular than the first. There was an acrobatic troupe that performed death-defying stunts high above the stage. A famous singer performed a medley of songs that had the entire audience singing along. The children's choir, including little Emma, sang with voices like angels. Catherine found herself completely lost in the magic of live theater. She applauded enthusiastically after every act, sometimes standing for particularly impressive performances. William was equally engaged, and several times they exchanged looks of amazement at the incredible talent they were witnessing. As the evening drew toward its conclusion, Catherine reflected on how these events always reminded her of the incredible creativity and talent that existed throughout Britain. From small towns to big cities, people were pursuing their artistic dreams and sharing their gifts with the world. The final act was approaching, and Catherine knew that soon they would need to meet more performers and make their way through the post-show reception. But for now, she was simply enjoying being part of this magical evening of entertainment. As the final notes of the evening's last performance echoed through the London Palladium, the entire audience rose in thunderous applause. Catherine and William stood in the royal box, clapping enthusiastically for what had been a truly extraordinary show. The energy in the theater was electric, with performers taking their final bows on stage below. "Ladies and gentlemen," announced the evening's host, "Their Royal Highnesses, the Prince and Princess of Wales." Once again, the spotlight found their box, and Catherine and William waved to the appreciative audience. The applause seemed to go on forever, a genuine outpouring of affection and respect that touched both of them deeply. "That was absolutely magnificent," Catherine said to William as the curtain finally fell. "Every single performer was incredible. I don't think I've ever seen such a variety of talent in one evening." William nodded in agreement. The standard was exceptionally high tonight. British entertainment really is world-class. They made their way backstage once more for the post-show reception. The atmosphere was completely different now. Performers were buzzing with excitement and relief after successful performances. Makeup was being wiped away. Costumes were being carefully hung up, and everyone was chatting excitedly about how the show had gone. In the main reception area, which had been elegantly decorated for the occasion, performers mingled with theater staff and special guests. Champagne flutes sparkled under soft lighting, and the conversation was lively and animated. The young comedian they had met earlier approached them with a huge grin on his face. "Your Royal Highnesses, I can't thank you enough for your encouragement earlier. When I saw you both laughing at my jokes, it gave me such confidence for the rest of my performance." "You were absolutely brilliant," Catherine assured him. "Your comedy was fresh and clever. I have a feeling we'll be seeing much more of you on television soon." "You certainly have a bright future ahead," William added. "Natural talent like yours doesn't come along very often." Little Emma from the children's choir came running up with her parents close behind. Her eyes were shining with excitement, and she was practically bouncing on her toes. "Your Royal Highness!" she exclaimed to Catherine. "Did you hear us sing? Did you like it?" Catherine immediately crouched down to Emma's level again, her face lighting up with genuine delight. "Emma, you were absolutely wonderful. Your voice was so pure and beautiful. I was watching you the whole time, and you sang with such joy." Emma's parents looked overwhelmed with emotion. Her mother had tears in her eyes as she watched her daughter speaking so naturally with the Princess of Wales. "We can't believe this is really happening," Emma's father said quietly. "This is the most incredible night of our daughter's life. She's been talking about becoming a professional singer since she was tiny." William joined the conversation. "Well, if tonight's performance was anything to go by, I think Emma has a very bright future in music. Keep practicing, Emma, and always remember how much joy your singing brings to other people." The famous pop star they had met earlier came over with several other musicians. They were all still glowing from their performances and seemed genuinely thrilled to be spending time with the royal couple. "Your Royal Highnesses," one of the singers said, "we were wondering if you might consider attending our charity concert next month. It's for children's hospitals across the country." Catherine's eyes immediately showed interest. "That sounds like a wonderful cause. We're always looking for ways to support children's health care. Please have your people send us the details." Children's charities are particularly close to our hearts, William explained. If there's any way we can help raise awareness and funds for such an important cause, we'd be delighted to consider it. The acrobatic troupe that had performed such death-defying stunts gathered around them next. Despite their incredible physical abilities, they seemed almost shy meeting the royal couple in person. "We've performed all over the world," their leader explained, "but performing for royalty is something we never imagined would happen. Thank you for being such an appreciative audience." "Your performance was breathtaking," Catherine replied. "I honestly held my breath during some of those stunts. The precision and trust you must have in each other is remarkable." As the evening continued, William and Catherine moved through the reception, speaking with every performer they could. They made each person feel valued and important, asking thoughtful questions about their craft and showing genuine interest in their careers and dreams. A veteran performer, an elderly gentleman who had been entertaining audiences for over 40 years, approached them with obvious emotion in his eyes. "Your Royal Highnesses," he said with a slight tremor in his voice, "I've performed at many royal variety shows over the years, and I must say that your presence here tonight made it extra special. The respect and genuine appreciation you show for performers means more to us than you can possibly know." William was moved by the man's words. "Sir, it's performers like yourself who have made British entertainment what it is today. We're honored to be here celebrating your talents and the incredible tradition of variety performance." Catherine added, "The Royal Variety Performance represents the very best of British creativity and entertainment. It's one of our favorite events of the year precisely because we get to meet such talented and passionate people like all of you." As the reception began to wind down, Catherine noticed that many of the performers were taking photographs together, capturing memories of this special night. She saw little Emma posing with some of the older performers, all of them treating her like a star. "This is what I love most about nights like these," Catherine said quietly to William. "Look at how supportive everyone is of each other. It doesn't matter if you're a world-famous singer or a 12-year-old just starting out. Everyone here appreciates and celebrates talent." The theater manager appeared to let them know their car was ready whenever they were prepared to leave. But neither Catherine nor William seemed in any hurry to end such a wonderful evening. They spent a few more minutes saying goodbye to performers and thanking the theater staff for their excellent organization. Every handshake, every smile, every word of encouragement was genuine and heartfelt. Finally, it was time to leave. As they made their way back through the theater toward the stage door exit, Catherine reflected on what an inspiring evening it had been. They had witnessed incredible talent, met amazing people, and been reminded once again of the power of live performance to bring joy and wonder to people's lives. The stage door opened, and they were met with another surge of camera flashes and cheers from fans who had waited outside the entire evening just for this moment. The crowd was smaller now, but no less enthusiastic. "Catherine! William! How was the show?" called out photographers. William gave a thumbs-up sign, and Catherine beamed with genuine happiness. Their body language clearly showed what a wonderful time they had experienced. As they walked to their waiting car, Catherine waved to the dedicated fans who had braved the cold November night. These people amazed her with their loyalty and enthusiasm, and she never took their support for granted. "Thank you for waiting," she called out to the crowd. "It was an absolutely wonderful show." Settling back into their car as it pulled away from the theater, Catherine and William both felt the satisfaction that comes from a truly special evening. They had supported British arts, celebrated incredible talent, and connected with people whose passion for entertainment enriched the cultural life of their country. "Another magical night," William said, taking Catherine's hand as London's lights sparkled outside their windows. "These are the moments I treasure most," Catherine replied. "Meeting those performers, seeing their dreams coming true. being part of celebrating everything that makes British entertainment so special. As their car glided through the London streets toward home, both of them knew they would remember this royal variety performance for years to come. Not just for the spectacular performances they had witnessed, but for the wonderful people they had met and the reminder of how the arts could bring so much joy and inspiration to the world.